Welcome to the Shekina Meditation Podcast, created by Shekina community members. Shekina communities are dedicated to creating free devotional spaces of Christian practice for spiritual seekers and travelers around the world. We post Christ-centered guided meditation each week to help you in your personal or small group practice. You can find episode show notes and other information at shekinacommunity.com. Hi, this is Ray. It's episode 64 of the podcast, and I'm so happy to be back with you. Today is Thursday, the 5th of March, as I record this, and we are starting a new series of meditations that come from recordings that we've done, most of them from Shambhala in Your Heart Festival, which is a little hippie music festival that we go to here in northern Thailand. And we had the privilege of being able to share meditation there daily with travelers from around the world. So I'll be sharing these over the next few weeks. Shekina Garden is on our yearly break, and we are scattered around the world, different community members in different countries. And so the intros will be a little different from normal, but we'll have guided meditation as usual. So I hope you enjoy, and that you enjoy the sort of on location kind of guiding of meditation that we did at the festival. So listeners, as always, this podcast is supported by you. Because it's a podcast about meditation, we want to keep it ad-free. Our beloved patrons at patreon.com support us for as little as $1 a month. You can find us at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast. That's Shekina Meditation Podcast. We mostly are just really thankful for your support. We use it to fund these communities that we have around the world and that offer free meditation to travelers and spiritual seekers. Another way that you can support us is by rating or reviewing us on iTunes, or you can share the podcast with a friend, however you want to do that. These communities that we run are offering Christ-centered practices for people who come from many, many countries in the world. And it helps us so much when you support us, and helps us know that you appreciate what we do when we're putting the podcast and also having our communities in this world. Patrons, you are the best. You are like tomatoes straight from the vine. And that is something that I've been enjoying over the last few days as I pick tomatoes from my vine. It's lovely. Today's episode is Lectio Divina on Matthew 11, 28-30. It's guided by Brendan at Shambhala Festival in northern Thailand. And the meditation will have 3 parts. First, Brendan will guide you through some exercises to help you find quiet in your mind. Then he will read through the verses a number of times with lots of space in between. And the third part of the meditation is about your own processing. So if you're with others, you can have a talking circle and let each person share from their experience what happened during the meditation. Or if you're by yourself, it's a good time to jot a few thoughts down, to journal, or just bullet point some of what you thought about, some things that stuck out to you. And it helps you remember, helps to help the meditation continue on inside of you. It's great to give each person an opportunity to share and to listen well to each other. So yeah, good practices for all of us in how to listen well, how to share with each other deeply and from the heart. Let's begin.
Let's begin. If you'd like to close your eyes, I will lead us in a time of preparing ourselves. Feel the wind on your skin. Which part of your body, which part of your skin is the wind touching? In the ancient Hebrew scriptures, the word for wind is ruach, which is the same word for spirit. As we sit in meditation now, the ruach of God, the wind of God, the Spirit of God blows upon us. Friends, let's focus on our posture as we sit in meditation this morning. There's no one right posture. But if you find some position that feels strong, but also comfortable, you want your back to be nice and tall. Your spine is a very important part of our posture in meditation. Nice and tall and strong, but not stiff. If you imagine yourself as a tree planted in the ground, with your roots sinking down, yet with all trees, their strength is in that they can sway. You can sway with the breeze. You can move. You're not rigid. Friends, if you need to stretch during the meditation or stand, or don't feel that you need to be locked into this position, if you need to stretch, do that. Just try and do it in a way that doesn't disturb the person next to you. If your feet could speak to you this morning, what would your feet tell you about your life? If your hands could speak to you this morning, what would they speak to you of the work that they've done and of the people that they've embraced? As we focus now on our breathing, be aware of the air coming in and out of your body. As you breathe through your nostrils, notice the temperature changing. The air breathed in is cooler. The air breathed out is warmer. Notice and enjoy the rhythm of your breathing. Notice the way your whole body responds with each breath. Your chest, your arms, your spine. You can feel it into your legs. In the creation story in the Bible, it says that God created the whole universe with the breath, with the words of his mouth. It says that God created the first person out of the dirt, sculpting, fashioning, molding. Named that person Adam, which means of the dirt. And with this lifeless figure before God, this beautiful image of God then breathing in to the nostrils of Adam, breathing life in, filling Adam with air, with oxygen, with life, with love. And as we talked about the word ruach, meaning wind and meaning spirit, the third meaning of the word ruach is breath. As you breathe in through your nostrils, the breath of God, the Ruach of God coming in, giving you life. The breath of God filling your body with each breath. For some of you, prayer may be something you're familiar with. For others of you, it may be something that is very unfamiliar. Prayer is speaking to the divine. We understand that to be the creator of ourselves. You might like to pray a silent prayer, 1 or 2 or 3 words, asking God to fill you with breath, fill you with Ruach, fill you with Spirit. Friends, as we prepare ourselves to listen to these ancient words, these breathed words of God, listen to the sounds around you at Shambhala this morning. Listen to the sounds that are closest to you. Listen to the sounds that are furthest from you. Now, one technique that we can use this morning as we sit in the middle of a beautiful festival with noise of life and activity and music, barking dogs, is to use these sounds. If you feel that they're distracting, use those sounds to draw your attention back to the circle this morning. When you find your mind wandering after other noises, other thoughts, use that very noise to remind you to come back to this circle. We're going to hear the words of Christ. invite you to visualize Jesus here in the circle, present. Available. About to speak to you. What is Jesus wearing? What does he look like? How do you feel being in a circle with Jesus present? The same Spirit that breathes life into us, the same wind, the same Spirit has written these words in this ancient book so that we can hear words of life being breathed out to us. I'm going to read these words from Jesus one time, then I'm going to read it slowly with pause in between. Jesus says to you now, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Jesus says these words to you this morning. He says, "Come to me." Jesus is motioning for you. He's inviting you. As he looks at you, does he motion with his hands or with his head or with his eyes? With his heart? Come to me. Come to me, all you who are weary. Are you weary? Are you tired in life? What are the things that are making you tired, worn down? What does tiredness feel like for you? Where do you feel it in your body? Jesus says to you now, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened. What is weighing you down? What is a burden for you at the moment? Is there stuff that you're carrying around that presses on you, that you want to be rid of? Is there a weight, an invisible weight on your back that you'd love to be gone with? Jesus says to you now, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. What does Jesus' rest? I will give you rest. What does rest look like and feel like? What would it be like to rest with Jesus right now? The Ruach of God, the wind of God, the Spirit of God, breathing upon us now. Breathe in. Breathe in the breath of God. Receive the life. Jesus says to you this morning, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. A yoke is a wooden bar that joins two oxen together or two buffaloes together as they work in the fields. Jesus says, take my yoke upon you. What would the yoke of Jesus be like? Would there be a yoke that fits you? What would it be like to be joined by a yoke to Christ and journeying through life, being a pilgrim through life together, yoked to Jesus. Jesus says to us today, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me." What would Jesus like to teach you today? What would the Master have you learn from him today? Are you open? Are you open to learning from Jesus? Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart. Jesus invites us and says, I'm gentle, I'm safe, I'm approachable. How do you feel when you hear these words, this invitation from Jesus this morning? Jesus says to you this morning, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." Soul rest. Friends, have you found soul rest on your journey yet? Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Jesus offers us a yoke today. Are you willing to take off the burden across your back and to receive the burden, the yoke of Jesus? His burden is a burden of love, forgiveness, companionship, and life. Our final reading before the talking circle. Jesus says to us this morning, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." Before we come back to the circle together, breathe in the breath given from God, the Spirit of Christ. Breathe it in. And when you're ready, if you'd like to slowly come back to the space, find a position so we can share together and open your eyes.
Thank you for joining today. There will be a new guided meditation available each week, so don't forget to subscribe to iTunes or sign up for our newsletter to get podcasts delivered to your inbox at www.shekinacommunity.com/podcast newsletter. Also, you can rate or review on iTunes or sign up as a patron at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast. Have a beautiful week. Many blessings to you.